one. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gents. It is the John Lavenia Success Mastermind. I love saying that. Always have, always will. The John Lavenia Success Mastermind for this Wednesday, 12th of May, 2021. I'm your guy, Glen Henderson. I tell you what, let's do. Let's get the housekeeping out of the way right off the bat. We got here in the Gen Sesh, glad to see you. Hospitality Suite right after us. Swing by, have a chat, eat, yes, have lunch with us, whatever you like to do. Books for Britain, 3 p.m. Eastern. Books for Britain with Mandy Anderson, our good friend. And then this evening, it will be your guy back again at 9 p.m. Eastern, right after 6 p.m. Eastern, Life and Business Tools with Adrian Garner. You thought I forgot you, didn't you, Adrian? Yeah. Wouldn't dare. Wouldn't dream of it. So who's Ego and I have been having a lovely chat about moving house and perfection and no, just get it done already. Hey, Daisy, nice to see you. Janet and Julia was the first one to jump on with me. Nice to see you. Edward, my man, what's happening? And Cyril, as always, holding it down for us in the U of K in London. Hello, Nicola, the queen of Zen. The most relaxed person I've met this week, month, year. Nicola Black. And the Money Mama is with us. So nice to see you, Lindsay. And Lieutenant Colonel, greetings and good afternoon. And of course, somewhere in the wilds of business wilderness, getting it done as usual, the man, the myth, the Godzilla. Hello, John. Good to see you, brother. And there's our good friend, Mandy. We'll be seeing you later on this evening. Looking forward to it. Well, as I was saying, sharing with Ego as we were just coming on, we are in the midst of movement, progress, change, new house, getting rid of the old house, getting into the new house, and it's all very exciting. And having great stuff going on. I've just started up a whole brand new business success training program. The difference is with this, and you know, I've been through so many business success training programs. Enough already with the business success training. Here's the difference though. What I'm doing now and the complete scope of what I'm doing in every app of my life are things that I'm absolutely convinced are contributing and will contribute to my growth, success, improved stats, not just brain work, but learn it, implement it, make money, grow your business, build your future. You know the difference, right? You can tell a lot of times, you can tell the difference between somebody who's just charged you a bunch of money is just going to tell you some stuff. That they've charged you money for the privilege to tell you some stuff. Yeah, but how is this going to help me? Well, I've told you what I had to tell you. Here, how about let's have the money? Yeah, it's nice. I'm already seeing differences in my mindset, differences in my actions, differences in my stats with the things that I'm doing now. Can everyone say that? Probably not. Anyway, all that to say that I am feeling very confident these days that my life is moving forward, that the things that I'm doing are making a difference, not just for me, but for the people that I work with. Young lady that I'm working with right now is actually, after several months of conversations with me, is now actually taking action and increasing her stats and building her business. So movement, progress, and then I get punched in the face. And which brings me to the topic for today. And if you don't mind, I'm going to wax a little halfway semi-serious on us. I have a friend. There's a friend of mine that I went to college with, at university with. And how long ago was it? Oh my goodness. Just over 40 years ago, we met for the first time and became friends. Just over 40 years ago. And we were really, really good friends in university, in college. Lost touch for a while, and for quite some time, as a matter of fact. And you know, as you do, we reconnected on social media. You know, hey, how are you? It's been a minute. How's everything? Oh, it's great to see you. And you know what I did? I actually got in my truck at one point and drove from Houston to her home in Pennsylvania in January to pay a visit, to, you know, do some business and see how everything, and catch up, you know, to catch up with old friends. It's a wonderful thing. It's one of my favorite things in the world to do. And we had a fabulous, fabulous time. Beautiful little town there in Pennsylvania, and I stayed at a lovely little bed and breakfast, and really, really had a wonderful opportunity to sort of reconnect and renew acquaintances, renew friendships. You know what I mean? Isn't that wonderful? You get to see someone after a long time, and you get to, it in a way, it's almost as if, you know, you're taking, we picked up right where we left off. And she and I had been talking about, most recently, doing some business, possibly doing some business together, which would have been great. You know, I love helping friends and people that I've known for a long time, interest in improving, moving forward in their life and in their financial picture and everything. Happy to help. Didn't hear from her for a while. You know, I'd been sort of following up, as you do, and didn't hear from her for a couple of months. And so I was planning to reach out again. You know, just give a quick call. How's everything going? You know, how are you? And I found out why I hadn't heard from her. She died 3 weeks ago. I had no idea. And it came as a complete shock to me. Complete, you know, not because I thought it would never happen. I mean, what do they say? No one gets out of here alive. So you know that's coming, but it's always kind of like, but I just talked with the person not long ago, or whatever it is. And fortunately, I came to learn, fortunately, if there is a good way to do such things, she passed away in her sleep. And unfortunately, I won't be able to get up to Pennsylvania for the funeral. But, you know, you send condolences and best wishes and prayers for her family and her loved ones and everything. And it brought back to me this is going to be a very, very brief time of me talking, because I want to hear from you. It brought back to me a reminder, something that I may have reminded us about, or we may have discussed in the past, in some of our past conversations, and it is simply this. I was very sad to hear that she had passed away. Relatively young. But I was gratified and I was relieved to know that she and I had reconnected and renewed our friendship. it was very similar to what happened with my dad. When I moved back to New York in July of 2000, I stayed with my folks for a couple of months, during which time I actually moved in to help them. I think it was July of 2000. And I subsequently discovered that in May of 2000, my dad had been diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. And he passed away in March of 2001. Here's the thing. At the time my dad passed, because we had had that time to spend together, I was very grateful, again, to be able to say that there was nothing between my dad and me that was left unsaid. We had all those conversations. We expressed all of our thoughts, all of our emotions and feelings and love for each other and everything else. And he, on his final day, he gave me a very admonition, a very personal bit of life advice, which I will keep between myself and my dad in heaven. But I only mention it because, thank God, I had the chance to do that. So what's the point of all this? Very simple. If you've got something to say to somebody, say it. Pretty straightforward, eh? And I know it's kind of a serious thing for a Wednesday general session, because I know you all are, we're kind of used to me coming in being sort of bubbly and fired up and all of that, and I am fired up about the idea of reminding all of us that none of us knows how long we've got. So make the most of it. Please. Please make the most of it. If you've got something to say to somebody, say it. If you've got a project that you've been meaning to get started with, you'll pardon my French, but what the hell are you waiting for? If you've got something you're working on right now, and it's been kind of dragging on and on and on, and you just can't seem to tie up the final ribbons. It's like that scene from the Harrison Ford movie, Sabrina. You're a grown man, Mark. Finish something. You see what I'm saying? Are you kind of picking up what I'm putting down here? Start it. Finish it. Screw the bucket list. Do it. What's a bucket list for? And with all due respect to those of us who keep bucket lists and who are ticking the things off, fantastic. Well done, you. There are those of us who, it must be admitted, have bucket lists because we're afraid to start stuff, or because we're putting things off, or because we are so, air fingers quotes, busy with the job and with the everyday stuff of life that we feel for some reason we don't get to give ourselves permission to live our life rather than just tick stuff off our list. Heard it said one time, life has got to be about more than just paying taxes and dying. Think of somebody that you've known for years, an old friend. We've talked about this in the networking match, some of our networking magic sessions, Wednesday evenings, which see you tonight at 9. Think of somebody that you've known for a long time, Or maybe somebody that you've met recently but haven't heard from. Somebody where, hey, it's been a minute. Here's your homework assignment. Here's today's Gen Sesh homework assignment. Pick up the phone and call them. No, don't send an email. No text message. Don't send a WhatsApp or a Facebook Messenger. Pick up the bloody phone and make a call. My friend Jesse Lee Ward, who is an absolute legend, global superstar in the network marketing profession, has sold and earned millions of dollars. You know what I heard her say the other day? And I repeated it. I kind of reposted it, stole it from her, gave her credit, reposted. If you're not willing to be an adult and pick up the phone and have a conversation, you don't deserve your business. Now, I don't care if online, from the standpoint of business, online marketer, email, autoresponder campaign, pick up the phone and have a conversation. The best business relationships I've ever built have been with people that I've spoken with on the phone or gotten in front of a Zoom camera or person to person. Why do you think that I have gravitated so strongly and been so strongly drawn to John all these years? Because I met the man. I spoke with him. I got on a plane and flew to see him at a workshop. I got in my truck and I drove 10 hours to go work with him for a whole weekend. And we've spent time together. And I've downloaded a couple of his profundities. The man's my friend because we chose to build a friendship, not just an email exchange. It started out as a business relationship and has developed, I believe, into a nice friendship. If I'm cutting in and out with my internet, it's my apologies. I think Comcast knows we're leaving and they're taking it out on me or something. So let's look at it from the standpoint of relationship, personal relationship, friendships, family. How would you feel? How would it make you feel if you had your phone ring, got a phone call, and picked up, and it's someone you hadn't spoken with in years? Hey, Mandy, how you doing? It's your friend so-and-so. It's so-and-so. And you recognize the name immediately. Oh, I know it's been a minute. How are you? How's everything? I've missed our conversations. Wouldn't that make you feel absolutely fantastic? I know the last time it happened to me, boy, it made my day. So, make someone else's day. Go ahead. Make their day. Call them. Reach out. Again. My friend Jackie's gone. But, and I'm sad, but I'm also gratified and very happy that we got to renew and rekindle our friendship before she left us. So what phone call do you need to make? What contact do you need to make? Who do you need to reach out to? What do you need to do? Forget the bucket list. Do it. Something you've been meaning to do, begin today. Take one small step to start the thing. And if you've been working on it for a while, I'll say it again. You're a grown man, Edward. Finish something. Finish it. You can't imagine the feeling of satisfaction. I'll wrap up with this. Two sets of 2 words each that I consider it that I will, it may be in my head 100 years from now when I retire. The one set of words is, remember when? Yeah, remember that time when we started doing that business thing? And man, that was it. Man, that was fun. Well, we made some money, but what an experience. Remember when we took that trip to that fabulous place? Remember when we went to that party and we met those wonderful people at the restaurant, the event there in the restaurant? And oh, they're such close friends of ours now. Remember when we did things? Remember when we did this? Remember when we experienced that? Remember when we met this person? Those are the two words I want to be going over and over in my head. You know the two words I don't want to hear myself saying when I'm sitting on the rocking chair on the back patio? You know those two words? If only. If only I had started it. If only I had called that girl. If only I had made that investment. If only I had taken that trip. If only I reached out to my friend so-and-so before she left us. If only I had taken one more step to put a little bit more of my personal gifts and talents to use. If only I had made that donation to that charity. If only I had, if only I'd gotten started. If only I had finished that project, what might I have been able to accomplish? So which two words you want? You want if only, or you want remember when? Remember when I jumped in my truck and drove 14 hours up to Pennsylvania to see my friend Jackie and renew the friendship? Remember when? Remember that? It was absolutely fantastic. Drove up to a fabulous, right into the middle of a fabulous winter wonderland. It was absolutely freezing cold. And we went around to all of her favorite haunts and met her family and friends and chatted and walked around town and did some business and got some stuff done. And oh, it's so great to see you, Jackie. Remember when? Remember how great that was? Remember when? Remember when? Make your life about, not about if only. Make your life about remember when. Do it. Make the call. Reach out. Start it. Finish it today. Thoughts? Talk to me. I'm done running my mouth. Love to hear from you. Who's got a hand up? Who's got a reaction? Who's got an idea? A comment, a question, a possible concern? What's on your mind? Love to hear it. I know I've gotten everybody like, wow, man, that was deep. That was Ego. Save me. Thank you for saving me, Ego. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks, Glenn. That was I can actually relate to that, or it resonates with me. Because when my sister passed away in December of 2018, I had seen her 3 days before, and we were meant to travel together. But unfortunately, she decided to take the train and not leave as early as I wanted to. But we'd spent a lot of time together, just kind of talking about different things. And I'm also quite grateful that I had a really good relationship with her, so that although her passing was painful, I had made the effort. Although, I wasn't living in the same place, I always made the effort to go back. I always made the effort to phone her and be available, right? Same thing with my dad when he passed. I was actually there when he passed, and it was the same thing. I actually put my life on hold several times for him to kind of serve him, as it were. So, because of that, I would say that it's really important not to hold on to regret. So sometimes we wish we had done something, but we're still here. and we still have the opportunity to do that one thing. So rather than, or many things, so rather than dwell on regret, just pick yourself up from where we are and just do it anyway, right? Or, you know, so not really dwelling on regret. Another thing is unforgiveness. You know, dwelling on, you know, if somebody upsets us or offends us, you know, we cannot hold, you know, where you hold on to unforgiveness, you're actually hurting yourself. It's really just let it go, move on. Don't, you know, don't sweat the small stuff, right? And the last thing I would say is, today my son called me and said, "Oh, Mom, I want to vent." And he was upset with himself because he's a performance athlete, a trainer, whatever. And he was upset with himself that due to his knee, his bad knee, he wasn't able to lift weights, or, you know, he says, "I'm really strong. I'm one of the strongest." And I said, "Why are you focusing on just the performance? Your coaches value you as a leader. They value you as someone who's persistent, who's consistent. He shows up every day to the performance center, and they applaud him for that." So I said, you have to think about it holistically rather than just dwelling on the one thing. So what? It's not, that part isn't going right, right? But the other things are. So rather than dwell on that, make the most of the areas where you're doing well, move forward, and then ultimately that area that's lagging behind will catch up, right? And he said, you know, "Yeah, Mom, that's true actually." And that's how we ended the conversation. So yeah, I would say not really dwelling. And if you have the urge to call someone or you haven't heard from someone, whether it's a one-sided relationship or not, just send the message, checking in, seeing how you are. Doesn't have to be a long conversation. So thanks for sharing that. That was quite timely.
Thank you, Ego. The journey is the destination. Kind of like, it sounds a little bit like what you were sharing with your son. Excellent, excellent. And no dwelling on regrets. Start from where you are. In a minute, I'm going to tell you a story about my mother, but and starting from where you are. But let us hear from our friend Stefan Bauman, our good friend. How are you doing, my man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Excellent. What's up? What's on your mind? Let me hear.
So I just wanted to thank you, and I'm happy you got to have that moment with your parents, with your dad. When my father passed away, I had a similar situation where I wasn't really taking care of him because he died suddenly, but it was on a business trip, and we had spent most. I may have told you guys this already. I don't know. But basically, most of my high school years, I would give him a hug and I wanted to spit in his eye. That was kind of the relationship that I had. Like, "Oh, I love you, you bastard," you know. And it wasn't exactly the best situation. And it built up to a head where we were on Christmas vacation back in 2003, and we went to the mall the one day, and I just couldn't be around anybody. I separated myself, and I somehow convinced myself that, you know, I actually have to make an effort to try and admit the stuff that I'm doing wrong, not just what he's doing wrong. And in the 4 months that followed, our relationship pretty much completely healed, and then he passed away. So it's something that I think about quite often. I'm very grateful for that. So it makes a big impact in your life.
Yeah, agreed. We, you know, a lot of our life can be defined in moments.
Mm-hmm.
A conversation, a particular conversation at a particular time, and you obviously think back to those moments with your dad.
Yeah, I mean, I
and
remember him sitting in the office with his feet up on his desk, watching his dumb computer, and just, you know, that was his little spot. And for once, when I said goodbye, "I love you," I actually meant it, and it was something that I'm very thankful for.
Nice, nice. To be able to say that you said you loved him, and almost to my surprise, I actually meant it.
I didn't want to spit at him.
I heard a saying. I forget who said it. Forgiveness cannot change the past, but it can enlarge the future.
Yeah, it really opened my eyes to realize, like, is he really not trying? Because he's doing all the stuff. He's going to group therapy with you. Do you really think he's not trying? Like, you really give myself a bit talking.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you I love that, Stefan. Thank you for sharing it. How to repair a relationship. Love it. Janet, how are you?
Hey, Glenn, how are you doing? I had a couple of things to share along the lines of what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So one is my husband, and we had only been married a year or so at that point, and we were visiting his parents in England, and he said, they've invited us to go on vacation with them up to Scotland, and do you want to do that, or do you just want to take the time for ourselves? And like I said, we were fairly new, but I said, you know what, we can do together anytime. Let's accept the invitation and go to Scotland. And it was so much fun, and I got to know his parents a little bit more, and his father was so cute, the stories he told, because they dated when his mom was 15. I mean, it was a long relationship, and so cute and so fun. And so we did that, and then it was time for us to say goodbye, and his mom made a comment. It's so funny to say goodbye in a lay-by. A lay-by is when you it's just a little wide spot in the road where you can pull the car over. And so we were going different directions, and we pulled over and said goodbye, and what fun it had been and everything. And that was the last time we saw his dad alive. If we hadn't have taken that opportunity, if we hadn't have done that, I don't like to live with regrets. And I was so glad that we did that. It was such a nice memory. So that's one. And the other thing about no regrets is when my dad was on the last of his journey, he had a stroke and was in either care facilities or hospital for the last 6 months to the day. And so I just dropped everything. I could. I don't have children. I could take off from my job. It didn't matter. I could go up. Not everyone has the opportunity. And I was by his side twice a day for, 6, 8 more hours each time. And I just wanted to be there for him and encourage him. And many things happened. I did healings on him and stuff. And people said, why is he still alive? He should be dead. Well, by now because of his injuries. And, but it was so great to be there with him. He couldn't speak anymore, but I had spent time with him before that. And so I could somewhat know what he was thinking or feeling somewhat, and give him the best care I could. And my whole thing was, I wanted to do absolutely everything that I could for him, and try to give him the best time I could. And I didn't want to have any regrets afterwards. I didn't want to say, oh, if only I had this or that, if only I'd spent more time, if only I'd cared more, if only I'd shown up. No, I didn't want to have any regrets, and I don't. And I was so pleased to have, it was such a blessed time to be with him, and I knew it. And I just want to say, when you have the opportunity, or you can take the opportunity to do something for someone, and the other things can be put on hold for a second, take that time, take that opportunity. Don't let it go by. We never know. We don't know anything. And it's just for me, it's worth everything. It was worth everything. So thank you, Glenn.
Thank you, Janet. Take the time. Take the time. I think that's the whole idea. We're all very busy. Everybody's got a huge to-do list. And I mean that with the highest respect and admiration for our work ethic. Take the time to. Take the time. It's worth it. What else? What else? What other thoughts do we have in mind? We're making a bunch of phone calls these days. You know, I know I certainly am. Reaching out, greeting people. Not because I want to sell them something or sign them up in my deal. But hey, it's been a minute since we talked. How are you? Do it. See what happens. This, as I said, this may be a shorter conversation today because, as you can see, we've still got a house to pack up and one to move into. Any final thoughts? Any final ideas? No, I'm not going to volunteer anybody. I do that occasionally for those friends of ours that I know can handle it. Mark, no, I'm kidding. I'm not going to put you on the hot seat, brother. At least not in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, the hell you're not.
What's happening, man?
Dang. I thought I was gonna be able to skirt, you know, and then
You were just inches from a clean
yeah.
getaway.
Yeah, so much for not being able to, you know, have to say some kind of damaging admission. Yeah, you know, this is an interesting topic, and I think it gets down to looking back and asking oneself, you know, about regrets or not. Do you have any? Yeah, I have to damaging admission. Yeah, I have a couple requests for some things that in my early years, you know, in my hellion years. I mean, who hasn't been through that part of life that, you know, you think you got all the answers and everybody else is stupid, and you know you haven't got to that you know, that 2 plus something, you know, and you're still down there. And I looked at my parents, who are both gone now, and the older I get, the more I look back on those days and I say, why I'm still alive after all the grief and the hell that I put them through. You know, and fortunately my sons weren't quite as grievous as I was, but I think there was a purpose for that, and what I learned. You know, my dad, maybe your dad said this to you too, Glenn. He used to say, you know, I don't care how many times I have to tell you, kid, you always have to learn the hard way. You know, one of those kind of things. And he was right. It was, but the hard way, for me, typically meant that when I finally figured it out and learned, it was pretty solid, and it wasn't something that I would steer into purposely again, that kind of thing. But, and I think it created a better sense of, or prudence of approach, of caution to some extent. It didn't mean that I didn't go out there with total openness and try things, but I think I just was a little bit smarter along the way for those things that they taught me. And then, of course, people know my background, and that gave me more of that too. And then fast forward to this point in my life, and I look now, and I look back, and this is an environment, I've said this way too many times here, but this is an environment I absolutely need. This last year, this has been a godsend for me, you know, on an emotional and mental front, particularly, just because when you spend 20 or 30 years doing one particular thing, and your mind, it's hard to turn certain things off that have become automatic. And some of those things were not so, or I'll just say they were colorful, and they weren't so promising to, you know, to me internally. So, excuse me, I'm just, you know, I ate earlier and I'm still kind of having that one of those little moments here. Anyway, I can't say enough about gratitude. And the older I get, even almost by day, how blessed I feel to be in this family, in this particular group of people that I get to listen to and watch every day, and it's such an attraction for me. It is. I've said it before too. This is an addiction. This is a good addiction. This is something that to surround myself with people like this that help me contend, because those dark recesses of my mind are still there, and they can still step right up in front of my face and cause some consternation. And I need these sorts of affirmations and this repetition and these kind of discussions right here, brother, to remind me why these things are important, and to step out and say, that's an action step that I really need to take. Making the phone call. When you started talking about that, there were a couple of people that I think, you know what, just for the heck of it, I ought to just reach out and say hi to so-and-so. Haven't talked to them in years. What a great thing to do. And we have all these social mechanisms to be able to do that.
Yes.
Do it. Just get out there and do it. And bury the hatchet, or rekindle the old flame, of some friendship that you had, when you were young, and see where you are now. And there's a couple of people that I've done that with, that now we're older men, and we look back, and just as you had said too, Glenn, like, you remember when, and boy, we went into not a negative tirade, but into this whole thing where we were almost laughing ourselves off the phone for a couple of things and talk about the emotional oomph that I got,
Yes.
from that, just the positive, push for the day. I mean, I walked around the rest of the day. I was just like, yeah, it was so good. I mean, really, it's such a positive.
What a difference, huh?
Yeah, what a difference, man. So thank you. This is a great topic, and it just kind of pushed me into that. And it's made me it's reminded me of some things, and
Excellent.
to continue to be grateful and count my blessings, particularly with like some things I've mentioned, like this past weekend and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Be grateful that I'm still here, and I'm still in one piece, and all my stuff works, and be blessed.
Yeah. How did we survive? I have a friend. This you may find this funny, Mark. I have a friend who a couple months ago or something, he was out partying, clubbing with some buddies, and was making a bit too merry, if you know what I mean, and actually fell down at one point somewhere and like busted his lip and cut his knee and all sorts of things. Got a big scar on the knee. And damn, man, look at this. And I said, can you live with that scar? If you knew that it would never fade, or you'd always say, could you live with that? He said, yeah, I guess I could. I said, good. Let that serve as a reminder to you. A reminder. Right?
Need I say
So,
more?
yeah. Duh. Yeah. So, yeah. And I love what you said, Mark, about how much better, how it sort of made your day to have that conversation with that old buddy. And man, that was great. And, brings back some of the happy memories, which is very, very cool. Kind of, springs us forward into the future a little bit as well. Edward, what's happening, my man?
Well, I have been trying my best to restrain myself from coming out. But
clearly a losing battle.
But this group just really brings it out of me. And I just thank you guys for being here. And what I want to share in terms of this whole topic is how grateful we all should be. Because I was listening to a Jim Rohn recording, and he was talking about how many more summers do you have, and how many more times to the cabin do you have, how many more football seasons do you have? You know, and I relate that back to my life because I had a brother, and two phases of brotherhood. Number one, a blood brother, and number two, a fraternity brother. And the exact same thing happened to both of them. My brother, at age 51, passed away in 2019. And we did everything together. I'm talking about, I raised it. I showed him how to tie his shoes, how to go to the bathroom. I mean, all that kind of, youthful stuff. We were scoundrels together. We sold our oats together. We, we matured together. We got married, and he was my best man. And, business together, family. And then I also had a fraternity brother who just passed this year. He was 57 years old. We pledged together, and we had been in the fraternity almost 40 years. And he was one of those kind of people that I bounced stuff off of and talked to. He was my confidant. I talked to him 2 or 3 times a day. And the only thing I have left from both of those experiences is I've got a voice recording of my brother, my blood brother, that I listen to every day. It's right here. All I have to do is pick it up and I rewind it, and I can hear his voice. And it's one that it's a message he left me years ago. Well, no, really right before he died. And you never know what today is going to bring, what tomorrow's going to bring. And like you said, reach out, touch someone, just like the old commercial used to talk about.
Yeah.
Because it's real. And, you never know what the next minute's going to bring. You take your health and strength, for granted, but you can't. You've got to always nurture it. Just like Jim Rose says, an apple a day. Really, an apple a day. How many of us are doing that? And is that really real? Colloquialisms come up with truth, and we a lot of times we discount them to make them mean nothing to us. So I'm just just so thankful and so grateful to be in a group of people that understand, that we're all growing and we're all changing, we're all maturing, we're all getting better. But we're getting better on every level, socially, mentally, business-wise, physically, financially. It's just a blessing to be here. So I thank you guys for allowing us to share. Thank you.
Every day in every way, I am getting better and better. Love it. Yeah, that gratitude thing, the gratitude thing. Yeah, I think I've mentioned my wife is the queen of gratitude. She thanks me for washing the dishes every day. I really appreciate it, honey. It's just dishes. But, well, apparently she really appreciates it. Hey, you're welcome, honey. Glad to do it. An apple a day. I posted this the other day. Kind of a whimsical thing, but yeah. Dad joke. Okay, everybody ready? Dad joke. An apple a day keeps the doctor away if you throw it hard enough. See what I did there? My God. But no, you're absolutely right, Edward. That's so interesting that you have recordings, voice recording from your brother. Somebody said that someone's saw something in the chat with your sister's old emails, sister's old voicemails. We never know when we might be left, when all we have left. Can I start the sentence again? We never know when we'll get to the point where all we've got left. So don't let it. Call them up. Make a new voicemail. Make a new live voicemail. Thank you all so much for sharing and for sharing your thoughts and sharing this time with us. Once again, let's do a little bit of the housekeeping. It's the hospitality suite. Swing by and say hi. Bring your sandwich. We'd love to see you. 3 p.m. Eastern. Our good friend Mandy Anderson and Books for Britain Life and Business Tools with the professor himself, Mr. Adrian Garner, this evening at 6 p.m. Eastern, and then I'll be back tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, networking. Let's see if we can work some magic on the networking magic. Thank you all so much again. Have a great day. Make it a great day. And thank you so much to our good friend, John Lavenia, for starting this whole darn thing in the first place. We appreciate you, brother, and I appreciate each of you. Make it a great one. See you very soon. Bye for now.